I have traveled to many countries, spoken to entrepreneurs, students, employees, and dreamers. And I noticed one thing. Most people have their excuses ready before they even begin. They say they want to start a business, but then they tell me, "Jack, I don't have the money." They want to learn a new skill, but they say, "I don't have time." They want to apply for a job, but they say, "The company will never choose someone like me." These excuses feel like protection, but in reality, they are the biggest prison. They keep you safe from risk, but they also keep you trapped where you are. When I started Alibaba, I had every reason to make excuses. No money, no technology background, no connections, no rich investors. Even my English was not perfect. But I learned something early in life. If you focus on the reasons you cannot do something, you will never even try. If you focus on finding one way to move forward, you will always discover another, and then another. It's like looking at a locked door. Most people stand there and say, "The door's locked. I can't go in." But the successful person looks for a window or back door, a hole in the fence, any way to get inside. Excuses are comfortable because they take the responsibility away from you. If you say, "I can't succeed because the economy is bad," you have already given the control of your life to the economy. If you say, "I can't grow because my boss doesn't promote me," you have already given your career to your boss. The moment you give your power away like this, you have decided you are not in charge of your own life. The truth is, nobody has perfect conditions. Not even the richest, smartest, or most powerful people started with everything they needed. But they didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They started with what they had, where they were, and improved along the way. Many people think they fail because of lack of resources. But, in my experience, the real failure is lack of resourcefulness. Money can be found, skills can be learned, people can be met. But if your mind is trained to find problems instead of solutions, you will miss every opportunity. I have seen people with less education, less experience, less money, and fewer connections succeed simply because they refused to make excuses and kept moving forward. I have also seen people with all the advantages fail because they spend more time complaining than creating. The danger with excuses is that they are easy to believe. They sound logical. They sound true. And the more you repeat them, the more you accept them as part of your identity. I'm just unlucky. I'm not good with money. I'm not the kind of person who succeeds. Once you start saying these things, you are training your brain to stop looking for opportunities. You will walk past them every day and not even notice. If you really want to succeed, you have to train yourself to replace excuses with actions. Instead of saying, "I don't have time," say, "How can I make time?" Instead of saying, "I don't have money," say, "How can I find the money?" Instead of saying, "I don't know how," say, "How can I learn?" This simple shift in thinking changes everything because now your brain is working for you, not against you. The people who succeed are not the ones with the least problems. They are the ones who stop making problems an excuse to do nothing. Life will never give you the perfect moment. If you wait for it, you will wait your whole life. You don't need the perfect moment. You need to take the moment you have and make it perfect through action, persistence, and the refusal to let excuses decide your future. You know, I've met thousands of young people who tell me, "Jack, I want to be successful." Their eyes light up when they talk about the lifestyle, the freedom, the respect, the nice cars, the big houses. But the moment I tell them what it actually takes, I see their faces change. They want the destination, but they don't want the journey. This is the number one reason most people never succeed. They love the reward, but they don't love the work. Think about it. People admire a champion on the stage, but they don't see the lonely hours in the gym when no one is clapping. They look at a billionaire and think he's lucky, but they don't see the years he went without a salary, eating cheap meals, sleeping only 4 hours a night. They want to eat the fruit, but never plant the tree, never water it, never protect it from storms. In life and in business, you cannot have a harvest without planting seeds every single day. When I started Alibaba, we had no money, no technology, and no experience. What we did have was work, endless work. We stayed in a small apartment, working day and night, building one page of the website at a time. We had meetings in tiny rooms with broken chairs. Sometimes the only food we could afford was instant noodles. Many people think success is exciting. Let me tell you, most of the time it's boring. It's doing the same things again and again, improving little by little. But that's the part people run away from. The problem is, people have a very romantic picture of success. They think it's glamorous, fast, and full of fun. But real success is often dirty, sweaty, and tiring. It's waking up early when you want to sleep in. It's making phone calls to people who don't want to talk to you. It's staying focused when everyone else is relaxing. People say, "I want to be successful." But when they see the real process, they say, "This is too hard." And that's when they stop. I always say you must love the process more than the result. Because if you only love the result, you will give up long before you reach it. It's like climbing a mountain. If you hate walking uphill, you will never see the view from the top. Too many people are standing at the bottom looking up saying, "I wish I was there." But they're not willing to start climbing because the first steps are uncomfortable. When you look at any successful person, remember this. What you see is only the tip of the iceberg. Underneath is all the work, all the mistakes, all the rejections, all the nights they doubted themselves but kept going. That is the price. And here's the harsh truth. If you are not willing to pay that price, you cannot expect the reward. Most people will always be in love with the idea of success, not the reality of it. The idea is exciting. The reality is hard. The idea gives you motivation for a day. The reality requires discipline for years. And discipline is not something most people are willing to practice. They want to play now and win later. But life doesn't work that way. Life makes you work now so you can play later. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not intelligence, not talent, not luck. It's the willingness to do the work. Even when it's not fun, even when nobody is watching, even when the results are invisible, if you can't commit to that, you will always admire success from a distance, but never experience it yourself. You know, people often ask me, "Jack, why is it that most people never succeed?" They think I'm going to give a magical formula, some secret shortcut. But the truth is not magical. It's harsh. And if you don't face it, you will always stay in the same place. No matter how big your dreams are, the number one reason most people never succeed is because they want the result, but they don't want the process. They love the idea of success, the cars. One of the biggest differences I have seen between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent, not intelligence, and not even luck. It's consistency. Most people quit far too soon. They start something with energy and excitement. But when the results don't come quickly, they give up. They expect success to be fast, easy, and obvious. When they don't see big changes in a few weeks or months, they decide it's not working. But success doesn't reward the person who starts strong. It rewards the person who stays in the game long enough to cross the finish line. Think about how people treat the gym. On January 1st, the gym is full of people with new goals. By February, half of them are gone. By March, most of them have disappeared. Why? Because they thought going to the gym for 1 month would give them the body they wanted. They underestimated the time and effort takes. Success in business, career, or personal life works the same way. It's not one big effort that changes your life. It's the small consistent actions you repeat every single day. When I was building Alibaba, there were so many moments when progress felt invisible. We worked for months without profit, sometimes even without clear direction. Many people on my team started to feel discouraged. They asked, "Jack, why are we still doing this? Maybe it's not going to work." I told them, if we stop now, then it definitely won't work. But if we keep going, we at least have a chance. We didn't see results overnight. In fact, it took years before we became profitable. But because we stayed consistent, every small effort added up until one day we look back and realize how far we had come. The problem is, people get bored of doing the same thing over and over. They want constant excitement and fast rewards. But success is more like farming than winning the lottery. A farmer plants seeds, waters them every day, protects them from pests, and waits patiently. The plants don't grow in a week, But the farmer keeps working because he knows the harvest will come if he doesn't quit. Most people, however, plant seeds and walk away after a few days, then complain that nothing grew. Another reason people quit too soon is because they compare themselves to others. They look at someone else who is already successful and think they are so far ahead, "I'll never catch up." What they don't see is that the other person may have been working consistently for years before they even notice them. Comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20 will always make you feel behind. Instead of comparing, focus on showing up every day for your own journey. Consistency also means showing up on the days you don't feel like it. It's easy to work hard when you are motivated. But the real test is whether you can keep going when you are tired, frustrated, or uninspired. The truth is, you will not be motivated every day. But if you are consistent, you don't need motivation every day. Discipline takes over when motivation fades. People often overestimate what they can achieve in a short time and underestimate what they can achieve in a long time. They give up after 6 months because they don't see massive results, not realizing that real change often takes years. If you keep going when others quit, eventually you will be the one standing when the rewards arrive. That's why consistency is the quiet power behind every great success story. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it's what separates the dreamers from the achievers. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in human life, and unfortunately, it's also one of the biggest killers of dreams. I have met so many talented, intelligent, and capable people who never go anywhere in life simply because they let fear control their actions. They tell me they want to start a business, but then they think, "What if I lose all my money?" They want to apply for their dream job, but they say, "What if I get rejected?" They want to speak in public, but they say, "What if I embarrass myself?" And so they never try. But what they don't realize is that by doing nothing, they are already failing. The outcome they are afraid of is already happening to them, just in a slower and quieter way. When I was younger, I faced rejection so many times that fear became my friend. I failed in school exams twice. I applied for 30 jobs and got rejected every time, even by KFC. I wasn't afraid of people saying no anymore because I realized something. Rejection doesn't kill you. What kills you is the regret of not trying. Failure is temporary, but regret is permanent. Most people treat failure like a deadly disease, but in reality, it's more like a vaccine. Every small dose makes you stronger, smarter, and more prepared for the next challenge. Fear works in a very sneaky way. It makes you overthink. You imagine the worst possible scenario in your head, and then you stop believing it's going to happen. You haven't even taken the first step, but your mind has already convinced you that you will fall. I call this failing in your mind, before failing in reality. The truth is most of the things we are afraid of never even happen. But fear doesn't care about facts. It only cares about keeping you comfortable, safe, and stuck. The difference between people who succeed and people who don't is not that successful. People have no fear. We all have fear. I am still afraid before making big decisions, still nervous before speaking to a large audience, still unsure before trying something new. The difference is successful people feel the fear but take action anyway. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward in spite of it. One of the most dangerous effects of fear is that it makes you settle. You take a job you don't like because it feels safe. You stay in a situation that doesn't make you happy because you are scared of the unknown. You stop chasing your dreams because you're afraid of losing what little you have. But the reality is, staying where you are out of fear is the fastest way to lose everything. Your time, your potential, and your chance to live the life you truly want. If you want to break free from fear, you have to start small. Take tiny risks every day. Speak up in a meeting. Share your idea. Apply for that opportunity even if you think you're not ready. Each small action builds your confidence like a muscle. Over time, you will look back and realize that what once scared you is now something you can do without thinking. That's how you grow, by facing fear one step at a time. The truth is, fear will never completely disappear. If you are doing something meaningful, fear will always be there to remind you that you are stepping into unknown territory. But that is also where all the opportunities are. Everything you want in life, the success, the freedom, the fulfillment, is on the other side of fear. Most people never cross that line, and that's why most people never succeed.